Dear viewers, good afternoon. Welcome you on today's live session, that is Campus France Facebook live session. And this is the first live session of Campus France for 2020. And definitely we have a very special guest with us, and we'll be introducing him very soon. But before that, I would like to tell you one thing, that you should be like, if you face any kind of trouble to listen to hear us, so just let us know for any technical issues, so that we can improve that. And of course, I would like to request to share this live session, live video in your timeline, so that your friends who are really interested to go to France for our studies, they could be benefited through this live session. And today we have a very special guest from France Embassy, Mr. Julian, and he is the Deputy Head of Economic Department of France Embassy, Dhaka. Hi Julian, how are you?
Hi, bonjour. I'm fine.
Okay.
I'm very pleased to be here with you today.
Okay, say good afternoon to everyone, to the viewers, and say hello to our Facebook viewers.
Should I say
Yes,
it in
yes.
Bangla? Shubho Paranno, Assalamualaikum.
Thank you. Because he
Good
knows
afternoon.
Bengali very well, so we would like to hear some Bengali words from him definitely. But today, actually, in this live session, we'll be talking about more information on France, higher education in France. My first question, actually, to Julian and to you, that could you please let me know that actually what the Campus France, because what is the Campus France and why it stands for, actually, in higher education in France?
Okay, so Campus France. So it's mostly for foreigners, including Bangladeshi. So from my own experience, I have never have been to be in touch with them since I'm French. But still, I would consider it as one-stop platform for foreigners to get first information about higher studies in France. In the website, you will find not only information about the studies, but also information about way of life in France, or accommodation, scholarship. So everything that is related to studies in general, and so it's going beyond that to life. So this is the first thing, is information, but then it's also a way for France to promote higher studies abroad. So I would consider this is a platform for information and for promoting higher studies.
Education in France,
Yes.
definitely. And as you know that we have started execution of Campus France Bangladesh since the last couple of months, and we are doing frequently counseling sessions, seminars, and all these things, even Facebook live sessions. So, how Campus France will be beneficial for our Bangladeshi students who are planning for higher studies in France?
So I think that, as I said, I would say information is a key issue for higher studies. And when you're standing here in Bangladesh, it's not very easy to get this information. So if you need proper guidelines, proper information, authentic, I would say, experience, it's a great thing for now Bangladesh to have this office here.
Yes, yes.
To be able to contact them first, but also to be able to have one-to-one interview, so that you can be comfortable and ask questions. Yeah, this is
and
fundamental.
we can also counseling with the Campus France counselors to know the better things about the visa process as well, to apply for visa in France Embassy. So as you know that there are a lot of students are going abroad from Bangladesh. So far we know that last year it was like more than 60,000 students, they went abroad for the higher studies, and France is one of them. Like we have from Bangladesh, there are a lot of students are going to Canada, UK, USA, then some Asian countries as well. In some European countries apart from France as well, like Netherlands, Denmark, Germany. So why student can choose? Why students can pick as their destination France? They can choose France as their destination of higher studies. What is the reason behind this?
So I will not try to convince the viewers to go to France. I think it's also according to what they like. So from my own experience and the international students I know, it's mostly for the quality of the education there, first of all, and then second of all, but it's very important when you go to study abroad, is for this French way of life. So I would say all the culture museums, you're not spending all your time in the university when you go abroad. You're also interested about the culture. So being in France, being not too far from very major cultural hub is a big plus for the students there. So I would say for the quality of the education and for this culture, access to culture.
So you were saying that okay fine, but especially the education quality, and of course they can learn a new language itself, and they can mix up with so many different peoples over there, right? So they can experience new food.
Yeah, exactly. So French is a challenge, of course, because not that many Bangladeshi students know French. This is not always a requirement from the universities to have a good French level. If you are studying you have a lot of so you have your degree for some master, for instance. But I would always consider that it's a plus when you head there to learn French or to have learned French before, and just to live with French people and connect with them.
Okay. And one more thing, that if they study in France, they can also explore the whole Europe as well, because it is connected with so many countries and it is in the heart of Europe. So actually, so far we know that there are a lot of subjects are existing over there in different universities. They have some specialized schools as well, in terms of business, in terms of arts, in terms of some other majors. So, I mean, what kind of subjects, what kind of majors you would like to prefer students to come and experience those subjects?
So this is not an easy question. I would say that in France, for any topic, you can find good universities. So whatever your taste is, whatever your background is, you should feel free to apply if you're interested to go to France. But if I have to pick up some field where it's interesting to know that you have particularly good universities, I would say so far, especially for students, foreign students, fashion universities in mode. It's well renowned in France, especially Paris. Then I will mention two other fields: business and hard science in the mathematics. In the way, so I've done an engineering school, so I know more about this, and I would say that France has a particularly good level in mathematics when it comes to master's degree. So.
And what about the technical programs like IT, computer, some engineering programs like electrical, mechanical, industrial engineering? So, how these subjects are in France? What's the opportunity over there in terms of technical?
So it's mostly taken through two different kind of institutions. You have engineering schools. It's the kind of schools I've been to, where you have in most of them departments specialized in computer science or IT, and you also have a university where you can find very good background. But I would say that in Canada, in UK, in the US, you will find such program. So it's not surprising that in France you find them as well, and from a very good level.
Okay. And as you know that from when a student from Bangladesh, when he or she is going to abroad to study, so definitely it's a major part that to consider the food, culture, and the people they are going to meet. So in that case, how the French people are, and how is the culture over there, and what kind of experience they can get over there during their study.
So I will not put all French people in one basket, but what I can say is that as a student, it's very easy to connect to other students. Specifically in university, you will find other foreigners. So you won't be only connected to French people, but with also any kind of nationalities. So in this framework of the university, it's always very welcoming framework, because you can meet them through specific gathering events or parties. So in this framework, it's very easy. Then so of course our cultures are very different in between Bangladesh and France. But that's also why it's very interesting for Bangladeshi students to go to France. It's the same for me. I'm here in Bangladesh and I have to discover everything. Everything is very different. But still, since it's different, it's interesting. Okay. So I believe that's why you should definitely have
enjoy
this
most diversity over there.
So should not be afraid of this different culture, but more like have curiosity for it. I would say.
So people are so welcoming to accept them. The French people also. So it won't be a problem for them. They should not be afraid.
No, definitely not. So if you know only English, it will be completely fine with all the other students. And then, of course, French is a plus if you want to be able to communicate with the own language of the people, and then it will be, of course, easier and open more doors to enjoy.
So actually, so far I know that you have learned Bengali words. You know Bengali, I mean, how do you compare with French and Bangla? I mean, Bangla is difficult or French is difficult?
So French is my mother tongue, so it's difficult to compare. But I would say French is more difficult to learn.
Okay.
But still, it's
when you learned Bangla, so I mean, how did you feel? I mean, it was easier to get into it.
Oh yeah, Bangla is not that too difficult, and I think like it's worth starting to learn French from here before going to France, and then go on with learning. For instance, in university, almost all the university will have French classes for foreigners. So I definitely advise the students going there to keep on learning through those schools, and then they will of course learn through friends and people in the street, of course.
Okay. So do you love Bangladesh? Do you like Bangladesh?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. I wanted to come to Bangladesh. So yeah.
Can you say that in Bangla? Like, আমি বাংলাদেশ পছন্দ করি.
আমি বাংলাদেশ খুব ভালো লাগে.
Okay. Thank you so much. So viewers, Julian actually he knows Bengali very well, and in France also, if you know the French language, it will be helping you to survive there properly, comfortably. So already we have talked about the language matters that actually when students are coming to us, right? So they are saying that okay, fine, I don't know French, so it's very tough for me to learn again French and applying for any university. So how do you think that actually is it necessary to apply for admission and visa before applying to know the French language, and is there any necessity of that, or after arrival also it is required to learn from here?
So for the visa process, there is no requirement in terms of language level. The requirement will be from the university. So of course, if the program is taught fully in French, you will have a French level requirement. So it can be B2 or C1, depending if it's bachelor or master, or depending on the field. But then this is for program taught in French, and then if you have a wide range of program taught in English. You can use, so the website of Campus France is definitely very interesting for you to go through. For instance, if you're looking for programming taught in English, then you have a specific page. I think it's taught in English.
Yes.
And then you will be able to browse, so you will have criteria to fill. Then I want to do business in master, and then you will have an updated list of all the programs taught in English.
Programs, yes.
And find private and public institutions providing program fully taught in English. Then for this kind of program, some of them still have some French for like A1 basic thing. Some they don't have. So then you have to do according to the program you're interested in.
Okay, but
not for the visa.
Always encourage students to learn something in French so that before going to France, at least they can communicate with the people, just basic communication. So I think it's better to learn something before moving to France. That we actually advise to students.
And I will advise them.
Yes, that's the same thing you also advise for that. And one thing that actually there are a lot of students who already came from France after completion of their studies, and they are doing work in different sectors. I think you already met with them, so many people like this. Yes. In last annual gathering, I mean alumni gathering, we have met so many alumni from France. So how did you experience with those people that who came from France after studying? How was their feedback and how was their study experience over there? I mean, do you have an experience?
So what was striking for me is I would not say it's based on the program or education they followed in the country, but it's also how open-minded they are now. It opened a new horizon for them. So I found it. I had the occasion to talk to them during this France alumni event, and I think this is something that is valuable for UCV and to find a job, to be that open-minded. You've been to abroad, you've learned a new culture, and this is useful for future jobs as well. It's soft skills somehow. I don't know for hard skill. I'm not working with them, those people. But in terms of soft skills, I think it was very important for them.
Yes, I also found, because we have done so many sessions with them as well, and during live session we talked to them, and they were really happy, and they said us, yes, France is a very good destination for studying higher studies. They're fully happy. I found them with full satisfaction actually. And as you know that people from Bangladesh or South Asia, so when they go abroad, especially the first countries like US, Canada, France, Europe, some other countries, so they always feel that during the study period they sometimes work some part-time jobs over there to recover their pocket money, something like that. Okay, so how is this opportunity in France that during or apart from the study, I mean during the study period, they can do some jobs or part-time jobs so that they can get it for their pocket money from.
So the question is just to mention French students as well. Most of them as well are working during their studies to finance their studies. It's not only Bangladeshi or foreigner students. When I was a student, was working part-time during my studies to finance my accommodation and food. So it's not an issue only for people from Bangladesh. It's an issue for all the students. So of course you're allowed to work in France.
Is it 20 hours per week?
So it's 60%. So within 1 year, you can work up to almost 1,000 hours. So it's 60% of the time that me as a French student can work. So given that the minimum wage is almost 8 euros per hour, then you can have almost approximately, I would say, if we consider working 20 hours or something, I have to have in mind, I can't compute it now, but it's 8 euros per hour, and then you can work approximately 20 hours.
So it's something like that. In a year, they can work near about 1,000 hours. 1,000 hours. So each hour, their minimum wages could be like 8 euro or something like that. So 8,000 euro, if I calculate, if you work for 1,000
almost
hours. So it's a very good amount. Those doubts. And of course, after studying, students are feeling to be there if they have better opportunity. So what are the opportunities they have after finishing of their program in France? Future opportunities.
So then this is the issue we are all facing at the end of our studies. So when you're a foreigner student, then through all your internship, your network you've created in France, through your studies, through your friends, through the people you will meet because you will be involved in an association, or I don't know. If you have a recruitment commitment before the end of your studies, then you can have your work visa right after your student visa, so you can stay in France.
Okay, if they have any job offer from any company?
Yes, so they can stay in France. Second option is you don't have any job offer before, then you can apply for an extension of your visa. I think it's like 12 months. 12 months. It's called APS.
Option, something like
it's
that.
APS in French. And then in the meantime you have to, so this has some requirements in terms of you have to have at least master or professional bachelor. So under certain requirements, you can stay up to 12 months more to find a job.
Yes.
If you don't find any, you have to come back to Bangladesh.
Another thing I have heard that if they get even the job, even they have any job offer, so there is some remuneration structure. I mean, they should have that kind of salary range. So
it's 1.5 times the minimum wage, so it's like approximately 2,000 euros. Yeah, under that you can't stay. Yes. It has to be a high level.
1.5 times higher
the minimum
than the
wage.
minimum wage.
Yes. To get this work visa right after your studies. And then the last option is to come back to Bangladesh, and then you can apply for job in France from Bangladesh as well. It's of course more difficult, but then you can also use the Friends Alumni Network that you have here to connect with some Bangladeshi that are maybe still in France working. Or
So after getting the work permit, if they work for certain period, I mean for several years, so is there an opportunity to be to apply for PR or something like that?
Oh, that I don't know.
Oh, yes. Okay. Because it is the second question. Yeah. I mean, it's the last question you're facing all the time. That what are the opportunities to apply for permanent residency?
After a certain duration of stay, but I don't know all the details.
So you'll check in the website for that. Okay, fine. So actually, as you know that there are a lot of students are going to France. I think so far I'm not, if I'm not wrong, like it's a good number, very good number. But unfortunately, the ratio is very low in Bangladesh. The students, apart from the scholarships, like most of them, I found that they are going through scholarships. But self-finance students are the ratio is very low. And when I talk to the students, so they are saying that okay, why should I apply to France, because the visa ratio is very low, because they are not intending to give us visa. So I think how can we give them the confidence? Okay, if you are potential, if you have enough fund, and if you are eligible candidate, then definitely you may have chance to get visa. So what are the things actually they should follow?
So first of all, I would advise you to try. Some of the people I know to apply just because they will assume that they won't be able to accept it. Talking about public universities, it's always free to apply. So you can just apply, go through all the process and see. So if you never apply, then you will never be accepted. So that's one thing. Exactly. So I would advise you to do it anyway and then see.
And they must be follow the what requirements.
Oh, so for the visa?
Yes.
So talking about the visa, yes, as long as you comply to all the requirements, it should have no issue. You should have no issue with the visa section here. And all the information, you can find them in the embassy website. You can ask questions to the cultural section in the embassy, or you can directly see with Campus France here office.
Actually, that's why Campus France is working hard for you people, because so that you can know more about France, and you will feel confident to apply for visa. So that's why we are doing very hard. The number should be increased in this year. So that let's see how it should be. So actually, I'm just at the end of the live session. So as you know that we know that France is a very big country. There are a lot of cities, lot of cities over there. So I mean, what are the cities that are most popular for international students? Definitely Paris is one of them, without any doubts. But apart from Paris, what are the other cities that could be a good destination for international students?
The answer to your question directly mentioning cities or whatever. I would just mention something. Of course, when we talk about France, Paris is a big city. You have a lot of people, and you might not like it. Some people, they just don't like being in the big city because they're not comfortable with it. You have the crowd, everything. So for some of them, according to their states, they will prefer to be in a smaller case, smaller scale. You have smaller cities in France where you have very good. Most of the time, the proportion of students in the total population is higher, so it's kind of campus in the city. And some people. So I started my studies in Lyon. It's the third largest city in France. Lyon, yeah. And you can do everything, travel everywhere. It's much more, with
so
grand.
proud, yes.
Yeah. So and I liked it.
Yes.
And so then after that I went to Paris because I got accepted there. But then depending on what you like, you might also prefer to be. And anyway, you will have.
And also you need to check the affordability because Paris is more expensive.
That's true.
The rent and the food. So if anyone has the budget issues, so they can also choose some other cities where they can stay with affordable budget.
No, that's true. And again, we were talking about the train network. If you're not living in Paris, you can definitely go in Paris for weekends because it's very nearby.
Well connected. Yes.
Yeah, and within 2 hours with the train, you can reach any.
You can explore.
It's
Paris.
not because you're not in Paris that it's you won't have the occasion to go there.
Yes, definitely. So actually, Campus France, as a part of Campus France, we have been working for counseling students, and students always come to us, and actually they are saying that actually even they don't know which university they should apply, which course they should apply. They always ask us that you advise us that what should I do, but we always tell them, okay, go search our website, and you can check by yourself, and you can decide. My question is like, as you know that for visa matters, I mean, so I think students should choose their subject based on their previous background. Is it like that, no? I mean,
so of course based on their previous background, but also based on what they want to do and what they like,
exactly,
right?
Exactly, and what is their future career prospect. So they need to explain all these things.
Yeah.
Okay, and finally, so we'll be ending up of this live session. So finally, I mean, any few words, any last few words that you would like to say to our students?
So I would say two things. I would say that I already mentioned, but to wrap up, I have to remind them is that no self-censorship. If you're interested by some university in France, you should apply. You can apply to several of them, not just one program within the university. You can apply to several programs within one university, several universities. So you should not self-censor yourself. So that's one thing. And then the second advice I will give is, so to prepare this Facebook Live, I've been through the Campus France website, and you have all the information, what I mentioned. You can work, accommodation. We have no time to talk about accommodation, but you have information about accommodation, of scholarship, on fees. Everything is on the website. The website is in French and in English, also in Spanish, but mostly it's in English. So you will be able to find all those information online. So definitely go through the website to have all this information. Even before applying to university, it's good for you to know all the possibilities you have. Like for instance, social security is for foreigners in France. We have to everybody, so it's what would point for you. You have the state government of your accommodation expenses.
That's a very unique
so
thing, yes.
All these little things, they are mentioned in the website. So great.
Before finishing that, I just got another question. That as you told that the government is supporting sometimes some portion of the accommodation. So is it? I think it's not for all. Like whoever will apply, so they can be considered based on the government how they will consider the people.
So for accommodation, you have a lot of opportunities. So you have some accommodation specifically for students. It's called cruise, where it will be a cheap rent. This is based on your own revenues and or some other criteria. have one place called Cité Universitaire, bring many international. So for those two things, Crous and Cité Universitaire, of course, a lot of people are asking for it because rent is very low. But still, it's one possibility. And then you can go for either accommodation, building for students or private apartments. And then in this case, you will have this subsidy called APL. So again, it's based on your revenue, but when I was a student, I got the chance to have this subsidy. So it can go up to 200 euros or something. It's quite reasonable amount. It's worth having it in mind when you are doing your budget and everything. And then when you're renting a place in France, you have to have a guarantor, and it has to be a French person. But the French government has something called a visal. Anyway, you will go through the website. I'm just giving you this information. But the government can be the guarantor for you as a foreigner because you don't necessarily know someone French. So you have a lot of different mechanisms to help you for accommodation. So you will find.
So in Bangladesh, I think you have been here since
1 year.
1 year, since 1 year. So as you know that as a Bangladeshis, Bangladeshi people mostly they like rice. And fish and like mutton and beef and so many things. What Bangladeshi food you like most? Did you have you tried biryani?
Of course.
Okay, how did you like?
Itu আমার প্রিয় খাবার আমার প্রিয় বাংলা খাবার আলু ভর্তা.
Oh, aloo bharta.
Aloo bharta.
Nice.
Any kind of
only aloo bharta or with some egg fry or.
Now the best mix is aloo bharta, dal and bhat.
Dal and bhat. Wow. That's my favorite as well. But the dal should be a little thick. If you take the thick dal and with some lemon and aloo bharta, then it's really fantastic.
That's the advice for you.
Mix it. Okay, so do you know about the word? As we always say that goodbye before taking the leave. So do you know it in Bengali?
I always say Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz. No, Allah Hafiz means it's Arabic thing.
Yeah, I know.
But in Bangla?
No, I don't know.
Okay, Shubho Biday.
Shubho Biday.
Shubho Biday. So you can say our viewers Shubho Biday. Goodbye.
Shubho Biday.
Okay, dear viewers, definitely I hope that it was a for you because we got Julian from embassy and we really find them live session because these people are very busy all the time in the embassy. They are working hard for our students for all of their regular duties. So as a part of Campus France, definitely I'd like to mention that we have every Monday counseling session in different locations. So you can follow our Facebook pages for counseling sessions, and always there is a pre-appointment system. You know that very well, and we have been counseling since last couple of months to you. And definitely, if you have any question, any kind of things that you need to know, you can inbox us in our Campus France Facebook page. Also, you can email us. You can call us even. So thank you so much for being with us, for having patience to listen to this live session, and we'll see you again in another live session maybe next month. Till then, take care and goodbye. Shubho Biday.